Imagine stepping into Rome 2000 years ago, when the city stood at the very peak of its power. The morning sun spreads golden light across the rooftops, glinting on marble temples and the red tiles of countless insulae, those towering apartment blocks where most citizens lived. The air carries a blend of aromas: fresh bread from the bakeries, smoke from oil lamps, and the unmistakable scent of crowded streets filled with life. You pass through narrow alleys where vendors already shout their offers, displaying baskets of olives, figs, and honey cakes. Donkeys pull carts loaded with amphorae of wine and olive oil, while children run barefoot between the legs of adults, laughing and shouting in Latin phrases that sound strangely familiar yet distant. In the distance, the forum begins to stir. Statues of emperors and gods watch silently as the people gather, turning the heart of the city into a stage for politics, gossip, and trade. Rome is alive in every detail. Walls are covered with painted advertisements for gladiatorial games. Soldiers in polished armor patrol, their sandals striking against stone pavements. Wealthy patricians are carried in litters by slaves, their robes perfumed with exotic oils from the east. The contrast between classes is everywhere. Luxury and poverty coexist within a few steps, yet together they form the rhythm of the empire's greatest city. As the day grows brighter, the city reveals its complexity. In the crowded insulae, families begin their routines. Small rooms serve as kitchens, bedrooms, and workshops all at once. Breakfast is simple: bread dipped in wine, maybe a few olives or cheese if fortune allows. From balconies, laundry hangs in the wind, while below, shopkeepers open their stalls to sell cloth, pottery, and freshly ground spices. The streets are noisy, filled with constant movement. Public fountains run with water brought by aqueducts that stretch for miles, a marvel of engineering unmatched anywhere else in the world. Citizens gather here not just to fill their jars, but also to exchange news, jokes, and rumors. The sound of Latin mixes with accents from Greece, Egypt, and the distant provinces. Rome is not just a city, but a miniature empire where cultures collide and blend into something new. On the main roads, traffic becomes almost unbearable. Carts creak, hooves strike stone, and the shouts of drivers echo between high walls. Even the air feels heavy, with dust rising under the Mediterranean sun. Yet, there is order hidden in the chaos. Signs painted on walls guide travelers to taverns, barbers, and brothels. At every corner, statues of household gods and shrines remind citizens that the divine is always present, watching over their daily struggles. This is Rome, not as an idealized vision, but as a living, breathing organism. Imperfect, noisy, crowded, but also astonishingly advanced. By midday, Rome beats like the heart of a giant. The Forum Romanum, the city's core, becomes a thunderous sea of voices. Marble columns rise above the crowd, the carved capitals gleaming in the sun, while at the base, senators in white togas, their purple stripes marking rank, stride with an air of authority. Around them, citizens gather to listen, argue, and shout. Politics in Rome is not hidden behind closed doors. It is performed before the people like theater. Speakers climb onto platforms to defend laws or attack rivals. Words cut sharper than swords, and the crowd reacts with cheers, hisses, or laughter. Behind this performance, scribes carefully record proceedings, knowing that a decree made today can shift the fate of provinces far beyond Italy. Every man with status wants to be seen here. Every ambitious youth dreams of making his name echo between these marble walls. But not everyone comes for politics. Merchants use the forum as a marketplace too. Tables overflow with bolts of cloth, jars of exotic perfumes, and curious trinkets from distant lands. Spices from Arabia fill the air with their sharp fragrance, while Egyptian papyrus lies stacked beside Roman wax tablets. You hear bargaining in many tongues. Greek philosophers debating the price of manuscripts, Jewish traders offering glassware, Syrians selling dyes as red as blood. The empire speaks with 1,000 voices, and in Rome they all meet. Away from the shouting, the law courts hold their own drama. Advocates with trained voices plead before stern faced magistrates. Accusations fly fraud, theft, corruption, even treason. Ordinary citizens crowd the hearings, eager to witness a scandal or hear the wit of a clever orator. In a society where reputation is everything, a single trial can destroy a noble family or elevate a clever freedman into prominence. Justice is not always fair, but it is always spectacular. Outside the forum, entertainment calls. Street performers play flutes and lyres, acrobats tumble, and storytellers recite verses from Homer to passers-by who drop coins into bronze balls. Children chase each other between columns, while beggars stretch out their hands, reminding everyone that Rome's glory has shadows. The city never hides its contrasts: marble beside mud, senators beside slaves, wisdom beside cruelty. And then, just beyond the forum's boundaries, another sound grows louder, the roar of a distant crowd, coming from the great amphitheater. There, gladiators prepare for combat, animals are led into cages, and the people of Rome, hungry for spectacle, stream toward the Colosseum. For them, politics and trade may steer the mind, but blood and triumph steer the soul. The shadow of the Colosseum falls like a mountain of stone across the city streets. Its arches, tier upon tier, swallow tens of thousands of spectators, each eager for the same promise: blood, victory, and glory. By midday, the amphitheater trembles with the footsteps of citizens streaming through its gates. Patricians guided to shaded marble seats, senators in their reserved rows, commoners pressed high against the sun, and even slaves allowed a place in the roaring sea of faces. In Rome, the games unite rich and poor in the same fever. Trumpets blare. The first act begins not with swords but with spectacle. Exotic animals from every corner of the empire are paraded across the arena floor. Lions from Africa with their golden manes, elephants towering like moving towers, bears chained and snarling. Children gasp, women clap, men shout wagers on which beast seems fiercest. To the Romans, this is more than entertainment. It is proof of empire. If the emperor can command nature's wildest creatures, then surely he commands the world. Then the hunters step forward. Armed with spears, nets, and courage sharpened by desperation, they face down the animals in contests both brutal and theatrical. Dust flies, blood stains the sand, and every strike draws thunder from the crowd. Sometimes mercy is granted, more often death. The crowd rose not only for survival, but for spectacle, for the artistry of violence. Rome teaches that even slaughter can be a performance. But the true heartbeat of the arena belongs to the gladiators. When the great bronze doors creak open and the fighters march in formation, a silence falls as if the city itself is holding its breath. Sunlight flashes off polished helmets and bronze greaves. The murmurs of the crowd swell into chants of names, for each gladiator is a legend in flesh. Some are free men chasing wealth, others are slaves bought for the sword. Yet in the arena they are equals, each life balanced on the edge of steel. The clash begins. Blades meet shields with the ringing that echoes into the heavens. A murmillo presses forward with heavy strikes, while a nimble retiarius dances back, casting his net, thrusting his trident. Sand kicks up beneath their feet as the crowd leans forward, every heartbeat tied to the rhythm of combat. The emperor himself, seated in majesty, watches with cold interest. At his nod, a life may be spared or extinguished, for in Rome power is measured not in laws but in gestures of the hand. The fight sways, brutal and graceful, a mixture of courage, fear, and skill. And when the victor stands alone, chest heaving, weapon raised, as the sun dips low behind the hills, the siege of Rome does not rest. Instead, it transforms. The harsh blaze of daylight gives way to the golden flicker of oil lamps and torches. The streets, once filled with the cries of vendors and the dust of carts, now hum with a softer energy, one of appetite, music, and whispers of desire. The wealthy withdraw into their villas, preparing for the cena, the evening feast. Here, marble halls glow with candlelight, and slaves hurry to arrange couches around polished tables. Guests recline propped on cushions, waiting for the courses to begin. The feast is as much a display of power as it is a meal. First come eggs, olives, and oysters on silver platters, then steaming platters of roasted meat, spiced fish, honey glazed dormice, and exotic fruits brought across seas. Wine flows endlessly, watered down for some, potent for others. Conversation drifts from poetry to politics, laughter echoing off painted walls, while musicians pluck lyres in the corner. In such gatherings, reputations are built and ruined over the course of a single evening. Meanwhile, the taverns of Rome stir with another kind of life. Here, the smell of smoke and sweat mixes with boiled beans and cheap bread. Wooden benches creak under the weight of laborers, freedmen, and soldiers seeking relief. Clay cups of sour wine clatter against tables as dice rattle in the corners. Arguments flare, jokes fly, and sometimes fists decide what words cannot. It is a rougher feast, but no less Roman. In these smoky rooms, news spreads faster than the emperor's edicts, and friendships are sealed with shared drink rather than ink. For many, the public baths, the thermae, become the true heart of the evening. Even after the games and labor of the day, citizens flock to these great complexes. Beneath high vaulted ceilings, they strip away the dust of the streets and sink into steaming pools. Cold plunges shock the skin, massages ease tired muscles, and heated debates rise with the clouds of vapor. Senators and bakers alike mingle here, their nakedness a reminder that status fades in the mist. The baths are more than cleansing, they are Rome's social network, where alliances are forged, gossip thrives, and solitude is banished. Night deepens. On the streets, performers entertain with juggling, fire breathing, and flutes, their audiences throwing coins into open hands. Lovers steal into shadowed gardens, while thieves slip through alleys in search of unlocked doors. The watch patrols with torches, though darkness always belongs more to the daring than to the law. And above it all, the city